Hey, this is Pablo with Meditation Amsterdam. I am here in Kamakochi in the Japanese Alps. I'll give you guys a quick view of this place. It's super cool. There's an old Japanese painter there making some landscapes. And I thought I'd take a minute to make a cool video. First of all, I wanted to thank all those who have subscribed in the last few weeks. Suddenly my number of subscriptions doubled and I passed the 100 mark, which is really, really cool. I didn't think that would happen this year. I've been stuck at 50 for quite a while and all of a sudden it exploded. So I don't know, it seems like at least 100 strangers out there think this stuff is worth listening to. So thanks for that. In today's video, I wanted to talk about how dilemmas or difficult decisions are opportunities to integrate our mind further. And you could also think of paradoxes as opportunities for this kind of stuff. So it all starts with any kind of a dilemma that you may be facing, which could be things like not knowing which job to take, not knowing which partner to go for, or whether to stay with someone or leave, whether to stay in a certain city, or things of that kind, right? So our mind faces us with these decisions, and these are great opportunities because they show that the mind is divided, right? So typically we like to think of ourselves and we like to feel like we're well put together, but when a dilemma comes around, it makes it very apparent that our mind is fragmented. And see, what will tend to be the case is we want to get rid of that feeling of fragmentation because we feel like we're being torn apart. And it creates dilemmas or big decisions. They create a kind of cognitive dissonance. Typically what it feels like is like one part of your mind is advocating for a certain value or a certain outcome, such as security or safety, predictability, and the other part of your mind is advocating for a different value or a different outcome, such as novelty, spontaneity, adventure, right? And you feel like you're literally divided, being pulled apart by these two prongs of the mind, or these two prongs of a decision. So what we will tend to do is we'll tend to ping between the two and sort of go with the one that feels best in the end. And we try to do that as quickly as possible because cognitive dissonance feels very uncomfortable. So we try to get rid of it as quickly as we can, and we try to just sort of veer towards one of the two and be done with it. And we may even pat ourselves in the back. There's a little helicopter going by. We may even pat ourselves in the back if we do that quickly, because we'll call ourselves decisive, right? And we went for something. However, if we want to use this as an opportunity to integrate, that looks like a rescue and search helicopter. Hope nobody's lost around the mountains. Anyway, if we are ready to use this as an integration opportunity, then we would allow the cognitive dissonance and the discomfort that comes with it to stay longer, so that we can feel it more deeply. Instead of making a decision, and instead of just pinging between the two and in our minds, what we do is we want to go into the somatic sensation and the bodily discomfort that is created by the cognitive dissonance, and we want to sit with that, and we want to feel it as deeply as we can. Of course, step 0 before that is noticing that there is cognitive dissonance and that our mind is split. This in itself has a lot of value because, as I said, we'd like to think that we have a single mind and that is a well put together thing, because that gives reassurance. And this is presenting us with the fact that that is not the case, that our mind is in fact quite fragmented. And so we want to really imbibe that realization and then work with our somatic sensations and allow those sensations to really go into them fully. And that does the integrative work for us. We don't need to work at integrating. It's rather awareness of the somatic discomfort that does the integration for us. There's like hundreds of people on the trail, and some old lady still believe that she needs to wear like a bear belt to scare bears away. It's like, anyway. So that's going to do the work for us, right? That's going to do the integration, the feeling of that. And the more we get comfortable with feeling that, the more we take the sting off of this division that we have going inside ourselves. And that division is going to start to disappear over time the more integration work we do. Now that would be what I call level 1 of the work that you're trying to do. So you notice division in the mind, you notice cognitive dissonance, you notice the what that implies. It implies you have many minds that are fragmented and that you're trying to integrate, and you work with the somatic sensation to do the integration. However, there is a deeper level going on. And I before we go to that deeper level, I almost forgot. Each of those prongs of the mind, the ones that advocate for, in our example, freedom versus security, each of them is pretending to be you. So you are identified with both, and therefore your identity feels like it's being split, right? That's a big part of the problem. So in order to disidentify, that's why we work also with the somatics, to realize that neither those modes of thought or neither of those distinct values and distinct directions represents you. However, the mind wants to have control over the situation, and it believes that it needs to identify with both of them, and therefore you feel split. So once you have recognized that, and if you get comfortable with doing that kind of work, then there is a deeper layer that you want to tap into. And so you see hidden behind the bushes, lurking in the background, there's a little rascal, there's a little thief that doesn't show itself. And that little thief is the one that commissioned those little parts of the mind to get to work in the first place. It's the one that implicitly or behind the scenes said to itself, I am someone who believes that my well-being depends on taking the right course of action in this circumstance or for this certain situation. And that one remains hidden unless it's brought to the surface, and it remains hidden in the dilemma itself, right? So you keep pinging between the prongs of the dilemma, but you never question who is the I that cares about the outcome in the first place. So if you go searching a little bit deeper, you will realize that there is a sense of self that says, I care about this. This matters to me. The outcome of this matters to me, to my identity, to my sense of self. And so that one is more at the root. So whereas the division and the fragmentation of the mind that we were dealing with at a more surface level is like branches of the tree, this one is more like around the trunk of the tree. It's closer to your core sense of self-preservation. And in order to work with that one, you would want to sort of try to find the sense of what is this I, or what is this I am, to whom this matters so much, right? You're trying to resolve something but who is the you that is trying to resolve it. And you try to use your attention to seek for that, and you're going to yet again find that it is somatic. But as opposed to somatic discomfort, you're going to realize that that sense of you is a sense of a kind of reluctance or departure away from the somatic discomfort. So it's a kind of saying no to the somatic discomfort, so that more core me is a kind of schizoid or avoidant move away from discomfort, and trying to seek resolution in some sort of mental deliberation between option A and option B. So this is a bit more subtle. It is less obvious, but with a little bit of practice, you're going to realize that whenever you try to feel the discomfort in the cognitive dissonance, there is going to be a sense of, I don't really want this. And that sense is the core of the sense of I, or the sense of me. So yeah, so that's a way in which dilemmas or paradoxes typically bring this up. They bring up both the clear realization that our mind is split in several bits and pieces that advocate for their own solution to things, and they also bring the opportunity for integrating those, and they bring the opportunity to notice or realize that there is an ever-present move away from somatic discomfort in the core of your body that you could call I or me, and that is a kind of identification with a sense of self. I hope that helps, and I'll be back with more. And keep subscribing, and thanks for the 114 people who are now following these. Cheerio.